Welcome back to Kimberly B. Gray. This premiere episode is part 1 of 2, featuring historic preservation and the architecture of the St. Francis Cathedral Basilica in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The neo-Romanesque Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis is a dramatic and beautiful contrast to Santa Fe's largely Spanish Pueblo imagery, and a testament to the vision of French-born Archbishop Jean-Baptiste Lamy. The expectations he brought to New Mexico in the mid-19th century were never fully realized. The cathedral records a varied and interesting history of its construction and preservation, reaching from the early 17th and into the later 20th centuries. Archbishop Lamy's refined vision was a bespoke nod to Romanesque basilica architecture with Gothic overtones, evidenced today in the interior and exterior. What resulted over time is an amalgam of the rustic and the refined. The patron saint of the cathedral is St. Francis of Assisi, who established the Franciscan order. He is the most venerated saint known even today. That is why you will find the Stations of the Cross inside the cathedral's interior, as well as the saints represented in the stained glass. Some of the backstory. In 1859-1860, Lamy remodeled the parish church with neo-Gothic elements that included a rose window, facade towers with pointed arches, and crenellations. It was built of stone and modeled after the Romanesque churches of his native Auvergne. Then, in 1869, he launched the construction of a new cathedral. Lamy stipulated all cut stone to be in the Roman Byzantine style, and envisioned an architecture of round arches, polychromatic masonry, domed facade and crossing towers, and groin vaults on transverse arches in the nave. Beyond such precedents as the 12th century church from Lamy's birthplace, the Archbishop was likely thinking of the Cathedral of Marseille, whose eclectic design was finalized in 1855. Lamy's cathedral was erected around the existing parish church of 1712-1717, before its reconstruction from when Diego de Vargas reconquered New Mexico in 1692-93. This allowed the parish to continue functioning while work advanced incrementally, but it also threw off the building's alignments, with the result that the cathedral nave and facade would end up askew, as is evidenced today. Masons and builder architects from the Auvergne, like Lamy, they came at the Archbishop's invitation in 1870. To speed construction, hollow cast iron capitals manufactured in St. Louis, Missouri, were substituted for carved stone capitals on the primary nave piers, the secondary nave and side aisle piers, and the corbels of the transverse vault arches. The Atelier Félix Godin in France furnished the nave and side aisle stained glass windows. A more particular one is St. Clare of the Franciscan Order, located as a clerestory window above and to the right of the present altar screen. In 1878, The delineated facade of contrasting red and yellow sandstone was reduced from 115 feet of the original plan to 85 feet, with a central Romanesque portal, rose window, and pediment. 2 towers dropped from 100 to 85 feet, with Romanesque arches and corner pilasters rising 2 stories to the octagonal bases of proposed 75-foot wooden spires, which were never built, as well as the nave, reduced in height to 46 feet, and side aisles with groin vaults set on transverse arches and built from volcanic scoria to lighten their weight. In 1882, a team of French and Italian stonemasons continued the exterior structure. Further work stopped until 1894-95, when a contractor built the nave crossing through its arches. Flanked by the surviving Spanish colonial chapels of La Conquistadora and San Jose, the crossing was walled off from the original apse and made to serve as a chancel. Cofradia de la Conquistadora welcomes all to the beginning of the solemn novena to Our Lady of Peace that includes the knighting and coronation ceremonies of those who will portray General Don Diego de Vargas and Lorena de la Fiesta de Santa Fe and her royal court, which includes Native American princesses from the Pueblo of Cochiti and Oke-Awenge. Please take a listen to the recent processional into the Basilica. The hymn is translated, God Save Thee, Beautiful Moon. 20th century, the renowned New Mexico architect John Gao Meme was called in to save the cathedral edifice, plagued by structural problems. In 1935, the vaults were stabilized with steel tie rods run across the nave and side aisle transverse ribs, and by reinforced concrete arches set above and tied to the vault ribs. After the exterior masonry was repaired in 1939, the nave foundations were rebuilt in 1940 with concrete footings slipped underneath the piers and concrete jackets encasing the wall and buttress footings. The architect Urban Weidner directed the cathedral's final building campaign in 1966-67 with additions of reinforced and precast concrete. The crossing was completed with a barrel vault pierced by skylights, a shallow chancel replaced the walled-off apse, and the Chapel of San Jose was demolished for a new south transept dedicated to the Blessed Sacrament. Only the north transept chapel of La Conquistadora survived from the 18th century parish church. The architectural result of this 400-plus year story has resulted in a beloved landmark that continues to celebrate its architecture through preservation and appreciation of the rustic and the refined. In addition to services, the cathedral is regularly open during the week. Thank you to the Society of Architectural Historians for the research of the Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis. You may read more by visiting their website. Thank you for watching. Please join me for part 2 of the St. Francis Cathedral Basilica, featuring the interior design and the spirituality of the Basilica at Kimberly B. Gray, where good design is the art of living.